Hello, I'm Lee Davis. Welcome to another exciting episode of Lee Davis Draws. I was going to use screen capture, but the weather's been so wonderful. This awesome autumn weather that I'm going to draw. I'm going to illustrate in my sunroom with my portable tablet, whatever that thing's called. And yes, so you can enjoy the nice scenery with me, and you can hang out with Cheesecake, Emily's pet tortoise, who is a masterful escape artist. She's like, she's found a way to go through. She's found the tear in the screen. She's been going for that, and she's actually escaped this sunroom a couple times. So I got to keep an eye on her. I am using a selfie stick. It's a tool that every narcissist should own, or in my case, every humble guy that wants to make videos of himself drawing. So anyway, all right, let's get started. I'm gonna set this up so hopefully I can get a nice over the shoulder angle. It says much easier. I started doing screen capture, and that's of course preferable. So you don't have to set up a camera. Let's see. Try not to knock this tripod over. The selfie stick, which becomes a tripod. Let's see if this works. I really hope it does. I'm gonna go and I'll tell you about how shabby this tablet has become from years of use in a moment. First things first, let me see if I can get a good angle on this. You know what? We might be in trouble. This might not work as good as I had hoped, but I'm gonna do the very best I can. We might have to compromise. Seriously, I can't zoom in on this level? Okay. All right, I'm gonna have to restart the video. How's that look? And this is tricky. I really didn't think this through too well, did I? Okay, so if I keep it right about here. Adjust myself. Okay, how is it? I'm just worried if I zoom in too much, if I start shifting around, you're gonna lose. I'm gonna unintentionally take you out of the action. The action being me illustrating. There's just simply not a very ideal way to do this. Okay, yeah, it's gonna have to do. I'll just hold it like this and I'll keep an eye out. I'll try not to move around too much. Okay, so I said I was gonna talk about this tablet. It's great for when I'm on the go. I take it with me when I go to swim meets. So for Emily, my daughter, so I can work while she's taking classes. Like we have piano today, and I take it to piano class. Anyway, this thing is the casing or the housing for the power jack or input or whatever it's called has gotten so bad that it will oh man, it's really frustrating. Actually, I apologize. The slightest little wiggle and the connection is lost and it's not getting power. The screen automatically dims, and I gotta hold it. I gotta get this at an angle where I can draw in. Hopefully, this is so ghetto. Yeah, this seemed like a good idea at first. Okay, please stay connected. So I gotta sit there and like fight with that thing every time I'm getting ready to draw. So sorry I spent so much time setting up. Maybe I'll just cut that out anyway. So this is pretty exciting because I'm on the last page of Door to Death issue 7, and I'd like to give you just, I'm sorry because frankly I think there were more exciting pages to do than this one, but I've just been on a roll, so I'm going to give you a sneak preview. I don't want to give away too much, but this is what I've been working on. I finished the latest issue of the Toadies comic book. Check that out at www.thetoadies.com. Come on, man, this thing's a hunk of junk. I've had it for over 10 years, I guess, so whatever. All right, that's the last page I finished. This would have been a funner one to enjoy, to watch being illustrated. There's more going on here. But anyway, if you want to know more, just buy the comic when it comes out. It'll be available on Kindle. I don't think I'm doing a paperback. I don't go through Comixology, which I think produces affordable comics, and I think it's great for comic book creators, but I don't know, I get this impression it's a dead end, or it's just not going to open up new avenues for me. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be such a big leap from just publishing through Amazon for Kindle. The problem is when you do print on demand, they're not really outfitted, they're not really set up for paperback comics, so you do, they're set up for paperback novels, trade paperbacks. So the thing about comics is you got a 22-page comic, and it's affordable, and there goes the power, yeah. It's practical to release, the cheaper format. These ones, the cheapest I can get them set at is $7. So you're paying $7 for 22 pages, which although I maintain these are a lot of hard work. It takes about roughly a month to get an issue done. It's a lot of hard work, but I can't. It just makes no sense to expect someone to pay $7 for 22 pages of comic. Now, of course, it is totally worth it. It's more practical if you get the paperback of Volume 1, which collects the first 5 issues of Door to Death, and also the single existing Charlotte comic. I would recommend you get that if you're at all interested in this. That's got a lot. That's a lot of bang for your buck. Otherwise, just buy these digitally. And if you really want, I released a couple. For the record, I released issue 1, issue 2. I don't think 3, and then issue 7. Pardon me, not issue 7. That's the one I'm working on. And then issue 6. On paperback. Why? Just because the first one, obviously I just wanted to hold it in my hand. Then that was done. And then I was pretty happy with issue 2, and the same for 3, 4, and 5. But what it was, I just realized I can't keep releasing these on paperback. It doesn't make sense. A lot of it was. And Cheesecake has fallen over. Let me go rescue her real quick. Pardon me. Duty calls. Yeah, the thing I find so funny, Cheesecake seems like a pretty smart tortoise. I just wish there was some way I could get her to understand that, if she does escape, she's going to be in big trouble. She's got the cold weather's coming. Reptiles don't like cold weather. And I don't like this faulty power jack. I got so frustrated. It got so sensitive, like I could barely move. I could barely budge a millimeter without that thing losing connection. It just became so shoddy. I'm gonna get a new tablet eventually. Just, this one's already all set up and I'm just used to it, so I keep on I keep on just messing with this. Yeah, and I apologize. I know this is boring. We're just doing a sign right now. I decided not to draw the entire restaurant. Anybody who's reading issue 7 has likely, and if not, should read the first 6 issues. Highly advisable. But I've drawn the restaurant already a couple times, so this is just one little, I decided to use this panel to, I thought of just going straight into the restaurant, but that'd be a nice idea just to show the sign. Just saying, yeah, that tortoise, I wish she could understand it's not a good idea to escape, and she's still so scared of me. Like, why don't you realize yet that I'm taking care of you, and living out in nature is a pretty brutal existence compared to what you have here. Oh well. Okay, so there's a sign, and let's use some effects. Okay, shift fog. Once again, for those that don't know, I'm using Manga Studio, which is outfitted to do manga, and I don't do manga. I just do comics. But manga is traditionally, it's a Japanese style of comic, and it goes with the Japanese orientation, which is read right to left instead of left to right. So when I'm setting, when I go to each draw panel, how's that look? Doing all right? Okay, let me zoom in. Don't have to look at my ugly legs so much. What was I saying? Anyway, I got to do it backwards. When I say, see, there's the top panel, it goes down. You go down this list of panels to highlight which one you're drawing, and so that's the first. But look at that. That's starting. It is by default starting from the top right-hand corner. But of course, in Western comics, that's not the case. And as much as, what am I saying? I'm really not that much of a manga fan, unless you start. I don't know. I guess there's a lot of conversation about what makes a manga. Is it necessarily Japanese? I've heard some people say no. I've heard some American cartoonists say I do manga. And it's not the typical Japanese style. But I guess I'd have to look up the proper definition. But, I guess. She fell over again. Daggone it. She got out once. She got that taste of freedom, and I'm just like, hey, try staying out there at night and see if you like it that much. I'm using these textures. I use gauze. Yeah, I use gauze. I really like the effect of that. And if I think it gets too dark, I use some white. And this also gives like a kind of a smoky, foggy effect. I'll do this over, background houses I've illustrated to make them a little obscure, as if they're being seen through some mist, dense moisture. I have toned down, no pun intended, on the gray tones. I'm trying not to use them as much. I'm trying to do more with just black and white. But I'm not against using it. I'll still use it. Just not as... Cheesecake, please stop doing it. Also, you might see, can you see it? No, we have some of Emily's science experiments set out on the ground. You might have noticed that. Yeah, so I really like the gauze for the, whatever you call this, the paintbrush. Yeah, airbrush, whatever. And the power, there it goes. Please stay. Hey, oh, it drives me nuts. Throw this thing out the window. I love this thing, though. I've had it so long. It's been with me a long time through all this comic work. So, anyway, we're getting back to where, I thought we were going to return to this storyline, plot line, whatever you call it, earlier than this, but I only had one page to do it. This is the last page, and I really wanted to revisit Slappy's sushi restaurant and see what's going on, because obviously one of the characters went out and got some very dubious sushi. It tasted real good, but you're going to learn in Door to Death issue 7 that just because sushi tastes delicious doesn't necessarily mean that it won't turn you into a monster cannibal freak. This is something we should all take to heart. So I love sushi. This was, again, for those that don't know, I was inspired a long time ago. I mean, I was, you know, I really like, I like a lot of stuff that comes out of the East. I like Hong Kong Category 3 exploitation movies. I like a lot of Japanese horror films. I've really enjoyed some of Takashi Miike's movies. Not all of them. I mean, I'm not a diehard. Japanese culture has really blown my mind. Please don't fall over again, Cheesecake. And discovering Junji Ito was like awesome because I had a passive interest in manga, anime stuff. Not much of it, I thought Akira was pretty awesome. Not a huge fan. I really enjoyed Ninja Scroll, Wicked City. Really, the really violent, gory monster films coming out of Japan. And yeah, when I discovered Junji, because I always said, I like this manga stuff, it's cool, it's alright, I'm not a real big fan of the style, the typical style. And then I discovered Junji Ito. I mean, he doesn't look like the typical stuff. I'm not into the typical stuff, but he did it just incredible horror. And he just happened to be a comic book artist out of Japan. So I mean, that's right. So I guess that just goes to show I'm not a huge manga guy, but I've always liked a lot of Eastern culture. I guess primarily through film before discovering some awesome comics. I discovered Hideshi Hino many years ago. A huge Hideshi Hino fan. Of course, he's silent, unfortunately. I'd love to know what he's up to, how he's doing. I'd love to see or hear more from that guy. I mean, I frankly don't even know if he's still with us. I hope he is. I wish I could. I don't know. I'd love to see what he's up to. I'd love to see more work from him. I just don't know. I mean, he's not a young man. I just don't. Maybe he's not. I saw one interview where he said he just wanted to do sci-fi comics from now on or something, like he wore out horror. I don't know. Oh yeah, but yeah, a long time ago. I mean, I always loved Eastern culture, and then finding out about and loving the movies. A lot of times I love watching like a really good Hong Kong exploitation film that's filled with blood and guts and all this cool stuff, ghosts and monsters, zombies, Shaw Brothers stuff. And I'm kind of like, I don't compare myself to Quentin Tarantino, but I guess I feel a little bit, I kind of want to replicate that. I want to make an homage to it. And I didn't have much exposure to Eastern culture. Besides, some of the friends I had growing up. And then in Marion, Virginia, I went to Yummy Yummy. Yeah, before that, it was like a Chinese restaurant. I mean, it still is a Chinese restaurant. It's run by this really nice Chinese family. And it was great inspiration. So I thought for a while I wanted to tie in something make it a little more involved. And what ended up happening, I also got inspired by this really horrible business owner, a Chinese woman, and she was horrible. She was just like one of the worst people I've ever met in my life. And I said, I will take some inspiration from this. It's not based directly. It's not based on anybody in real life, but it's inspired by one Chinese family running a business I thought was fantastic, and one that was absolutely, utterly horrible. Just the crappiest person I've ever met in my life. And so I used the inspiration. I said, and that woman who was such a user, such a terrible person, I met some of her extended family, and her sister was really all right. I said, you know what I should do is there should be a story about a family running, they're in a business together. And this is very common, obviously. I mean, it's just like anywhere else in the world. But, I said it should be kind of like that. There should be this really horrible person who's like using everybody, even her family members, and finally they get fed up with all the manipulation and garbage and how she treats other people, and they break off and they make their own sushi restaurant. And it goes back also to the kind of joke, because our friends who run the sushi restaurant in Marion, Virginia, are a Chinese family, and you might not, and a lot of people out there still don't know that sushi is, technically speaking, Japanese food. And so all these ideas came into play. So basically, the nice cousins, I guess this is I don't even remember these characters' names right now. It's been so long since I've dealt with Door to Death. It's been a while. I forget their names. Okay, but I think, yeah, these two are sisters? Or maybe it was that there's three women that break off from the business, and one is a friend. I mean, they're all Chinese. All three of them are Chinese immigrants, but two are sisters and cousins to the lousy woman, and one is just a good friend. These might be the sisters. I know this is one sister, and this woman. Man, I can't. I'm sorry. You'll have to read the comic, and I'll reread them soon to try and remember. Anyway, these are all just great ideas I had. I mean, pardon me. No, I'm not stoking my own ego there. I don't think. Maybe it's a Freudian slip. I mean, they were just great slices of life to inspiration. To inspiration. Sorry, getting distracted. That tortoise is about to fall over again. I'm going to put her back in her habitat soon, for her own good. So I'm just going to. That tortoise is very sneaky, though. I mean, she's very clever. I just wish she was smart enough to realize what a bad idea it would be to escape this place. We got a new kitty recently. Her name is Smokey. Got her from Perfect, P-U-R-R, Perfect Cafe in Covington, Kentucky, right across the bridge. I, of course, am here in beautiful Cincinnati. There she goes. Cheesecake. Between you falling over and this power cable being defective, I'm getting really frustrated. Okay, always hit save from time to time. Don't lose your work. How we looking, everybody? I'm still in the. Is this? I'm gonna feel real bad if this hasn't even been in the camera properly. I'm sorry. I look at different styles for line work. I think my ultimate conclusion. I mean, I still feel like I'm learning every day. I mean, I think everybody is. I'm always looking to. I kind of feel comfortable in my illustrating shoes right now, and just kind of jump into it. When I've been away from it for a while, I usually feel kind of clunky getting back into it, and you can probably notice it in the work, where it's like I'm rediscovering where I was at. It's illustrating is. It is and isn't, but it doesn't always feel like riding a bike. Sometimes I try to remember what I was doing, and it just doesn't come quite as naturally. And I'm trying to do something different. And I mean, the more frequently you do it, the more just in the habit you are of doing it. But there's definitely, when I've been away for a while, I kind of forget what I was doing. And then eventually, like everything else you do with repetition, it just becomes automatic. Sometimes I'm like overthinking it, and then I just start going. I barely even realize I'm doing it. It's like, once again, just like anything, you do it enough, you get good at it. I try to tell my daughter that you can't just jump in and get good at it. And it's not even to say that I'm all that great at it, but I got a pretty good feel. I am pretty content with where I'm at. I've talked at length about my adoration of Junji Ito and just what a tremendous influence he's been. But it remains the truth. I am not Junji Ito. His gift is his, and I can I guess in a way I wish I was on that level, but at the same, I just kind of embrace where I am, who I am. I was just not born to be like Junji Ito in style. While I take tons of... Where's that tortoise? There she is. Just waiting for her to fall over again. Next time I'm putting her back in her habitat. She's going to have a timeout. This is getting ridiculous. I oftentimes, not for style so much, but you can see this brilliant work. I will look at I don't emulate his style. I've attempted to just a couple times just to see how it feels, and it feels very unnatural to me. He's like maybe if I had different tools, I don't know. He just has a much more real to life style where I love doing the more cartoonish looking characters. And of course I really don't like doing architecture. Like really, so I just found a way, take a look at his architecture, and you can see, yeah, he puts a lot of work into that. And I've said before, I think I might put a little more effort into it if I was making a lot of money. If someone wanted to pay me tons and tons of money and they said, "Can you make your architecture look a little sharper?" I'd say, okay, but that's not the case. And also, but even if I was as big or almost as big as a man like Junji Ito, it's not my style, and not just because I don't like to, just because it, defined my style, and it is a little more abstract. It's not very real to life. What I've said before, one of my goals is to make something that will translate into a live action film. Not like I have anything against it being made into an animated film. Excuse me, but. But I make my cartoons, and then I make my horror comics. I don't want them to feel silly. I do, but not full on, not slapstick like Cranberry Death Sauce. Want them to feel like horror, something that is unbelievable, but you can kind of, when you read and enjoy the comic, you can imagine it happening. And there goes the power yet again. Isn't that delightful? I swear I'm gonna get one of that before this year's out. I think I'm gonna get a new tablet and throw this one out the window. No, I'll give this a proper burial. Okay, there we go with the confusing panel orientation. These characters, I remember this character's name. I loved this character. I thought he was a great idea. I said, first of all, I loved the idea of doing, making a character who was a washed up former child actor. Because I know that's a hard life, and to have been in the spotlight and then suddenly no one wants you, no one respects you anymore. I think that's kind of sad. It happens to a lot. You hear about, like, for example, when the style changed and and glam rock was just out the window, and everyone was like, "Oh, glam," just laughing at it. I guess it was kind of laughable in a way. It was silly, but it's kind of unfair because all the trendies and teeny boppers are like, "Oh, Warrant, Poison, oh man," and the real fans. Held on, they still loved those bands. Like me, I still love a lot of hair rock. Poison and Warrant, some of my favorites, absolutely. One day just the record companies said, okay, this grunge thing, this is the new thing. They said, you guys are out the door, and just tossed them. And it's kind of cruel when you think about it. Even though they got their time in the spotlight, you can't say they had it rough, but it's, it's almost like I would imagine it kind of happened without warning. You don't know. Who would have seen that coming? The record execs, they just, they're just looking, they're business people. And, but, it really is kind of cruel, especially for a child actor because, a lot of people just think they're so fantastic, and then one day Hollywood says, "Oh, you don't want these guys anymore. Look at this new stuff we got," and that's gotta hurt. especially in the, you'll still have your true fans. I think that's also a life lesson right there. The people that really matter will stick around even when no one else cares. And I think that's one benefit of me never getting real famous. So I never had to learn that the hard way. I'm old enough now where I realize, it's in the end, the only things that matter are the ones who were with you when you were a nobody. And I'm not much of an anybody. I mean, I am and I'm not. But I mean, I'm not famous or anything like that. And it makes it very clear who matters and who does not. But where was I going? Yeah, I thought it was, I decided, I said, I'm going to make this character a former child actor who decides to kill himself, and as he's in the process, he fails killing himself, but he has an experience. He witnesses a pan-dimensional being. I used to say trans-dimensional, pan-dimensional, what have you, whatever the proper terminology is. I've said trans for a while. I don't know if that's right, but yeah, this being says, I have a purpose for you. You should stay alive for this. And he's just like, realizes, well, I'm not supposed to be a rock star or a movie star or anything. He's only getting, there's references that the character makes about how he got offered to do this zombie movie. That's what happens. A lot of these actors, they get offered, something. It just really lacks the former glory, and they do it, and it's probably nothing like what it used to be, and they're getting kind of, in some cases, maybe taken advantage of. And this character's story, like the man, the man that invites him to be in a movie that's a throwback to 80s horror, really is a huge fan, and they are destined to become friends, and a lot of cool stuff is, honestly, a lot of cool stuff is going on here. If I might toot my own horn. A lot of stuff's going to happen with them. If you read issue 7, I just think I'm just really happy with. Yeah, I'm not Junji Ito, but I'm just. I look at these pages, and sometimes after the buzz fades, I look back and I say that wasn't as good as I thought it was. And I'm pretty, maybe I'm just in the zone right now, and But I think this is going to be a pretty cool issue. It's not the most it's not the most difficult. Let me check back on something. Keep your older pages around to reference back if you forget the facial features of a character. Where did we last see this guy? That was issue 5, the very end. You will witness this yourself if you get Door to Death, Volume 1, Revived Hive. And look, if you're looking for it on Amazon, do yourself a favor and go to, okay, there he is. All right, kind of a roundish nose. All right. Yeah, do Door to Death, Lee Davis in the search, because Amazon is ghetto. Sure, that sounds like a lousy thing to say with something that's distributing your work, but I look up Door to Death, and like 20 other books show up that don't even say Door to Death, and it really bothers me. I said, what is wrong with your search engine? And I think what some people can do is they can pay like a fee to come up more frequently in searches. I mean, maybe that's wrong, I don't know, but I mean, it's ridiculous that Door to Death isn't the first thing you see when you look up Door to Death. Like, I swear, you got to scroll down like 20 or 40 pages. So I mean, it's probably costing me some possible readers. People are looking for Door to Death. Well, I don't see it, and give up. So do Door to Death, Lee Davis, if you're having problems. Revived Volume 1, Revived Hive. So all 5, first 5 issues. Oh yeah, but Todd I thought was such a cool character because he's like, I always thought, I grew up just knowing I was destined. I never said I wasn't going to have a regular job. Don't listen to the lies some people unfortunately decided to tell about me. I always kind of thought I'd have a real job, but I also knew I was destined in some capacity to make movies, comic books, and books. And I just knew it. I knew it from the second I heard that was an option. That before I even knew you could make money. One day I heard about Stephen King. I said this dude makes money off telling ghost stories. Seriously, like makes money, like makes a living, like does it for his life. I said, well, I got to try that. And all these idiots, who, they heard me say I wanted to do this stuff, and all these rejects said, oh, you can't do that, you're never going to make it. I said, dude, what is your issue? I never said that's all I'm going to do. I'll do whatever, I'll do tons of stuff, it's just if one starts, if the comics, I just love doing comics. I'm not making tons of money off this stuff still. This is frankly just all I have left. And after I gave up everything for my family, I said, well, I still got this. It'd be nice if it made me more money, but I keep losing myself here. Yeah, Todd, gosh, sorry, I really went off there. Todd is just a fan. I think it's interesting when I meet people who love this stuff and they have no desire to do it. Grew up, I've met people really into death metal. They just never wanted to do it. And I kind of had trouble understanding that. So how can you listen to death metal? I mean, that's one thing that, like, you can do. It's hard. It was hard as hell for me until I had to do it myself. I had so many roadblocks thrown at me. I mean, I literally had my guitar picks just disappear on me. I wouldn't get any support to do anything. Wasn't even given the blessing to move near where the musicians were. It was damn near impossible, and I still managed to scrounge up a broken guitar. One of the lever positions is broken where it doesn't get a signal. A broken guitar, a crappy Alesis drum machine, and a 4-track recorder. I still made death metal happen. But Todd is like just a fan who was really what happened. I loved the scenario because the main character Winston, the former child actor, he's just buying some food, and he just happens to see his original movie Door to Death in the bargain bin, and he says, well, how about that? And it's like $3, so he buys it. And as he's checking out, this nice guy Todd, who incidentally has given up his life as a chemist, like his job went south, but he didn't want to move out because his daughters really loved where they were, and his wife had a pretty good job at an animal hospital. And but he's checking the guy out, and he says, oh man, Door to Death. Yeah, and he starts telling all these facts about the kid actor who went on to do these like lunch pack commercials and made tons of money off that. And he's sitting there, he doesn't realize he's speaking to the actual child actor, and the child actor is kind of like a blessing. He's just so happy to meet this guy who's really into the movie. He doesn't let out that, oh, that was me. He's just really happy. And then of course the nasty the mean Chinese manager comes out and starts giving Todd all this trouble, and Winston just overhears it and stands up for the guy, says, it's pretty tasteless what you're doing, just ripping on him publicly like that. And she says, you get out of here, something like that. And they bump into each other later. Winston's got this like coupon for waffles he takes into the diner. In the diner, actually, as it turns out, Todd has been fired after this confrontation by the mean Chinese lady, and the nice relatives invite him out, and he thinks they're just consoling him, feeling sorry for him, but they say, no, we can't stand our cousin. We are starting our own sushi restaurant, and we're sitting in the place where it's going to be. And he says, his first reaction is like, wait a minute, sushi, aren't you Chinese? And then they make the joke that's based on my actual experiences. They say, no one knows the difference around here. So yeah, there's a lot more I could get into, but yeah, I love the Todd character. He's just a very good altruistic person who's had to eat a lot of humble pie because he worked real hard to become a chemist, and then it all fell apart, and for the love of his family, he decided to not move them to where the next job was, and his wife was very happy to keep her job at the animal hospital, and all is well, Let's make a big industrial refrigerator right here. See, this is why I say geometric, like stuff, machinery, stuff like that. Just no thanks. I just don't enjoy doing it. Good news is, Cheesecake has not fallen over again yet. All right, and sometimes I put a lot of work into this, and I edit in the word balloons, and sometimes I put a lot of work into the backgrounds, and then it kind of hurts to have to block it out with word balloons. And I try to make it keep a rough idea of where stuff is going to go. Maybe this can be like a poster of different sushi kinds or something like that. Well, another thing with backgrounds that drives me crazy is once you go back to that same place, you need to reference back to the original materials and make sure you're not doing it wrong. Just keep everything, and I've observed when I'm reading a comic, sometimes I just try to see if the placement is right. And it's stuff that we really, honestly, we don't pay attention to. Typically, in our minds, we're not paying real close attention to the layout of a place. I looked at Junji Ito, and I say he really does keep things where they belong when he revisits a place, an interior he's already drawn. So I mean, it is important. I got to do it a little bit. I just don't like to, but I mean, that's when you're in that situation, you just bring up the old pages and get as close a likeness as you can, and it's all good. It's just I'd rather draw monsters and people and stuff like that. Just inanimate objects. I think, and because people are always in motion, they're always changing their expressions, and it's just easier. Monsters in particular, when I first draw a monster, I never design them beforehand. I just start drawing, and it comes to be in the actual comic. I never do character sketches. I'm not saying I shouldn't. I don't need to. I just don't. It always works itself out, and it comes very naturally to me. And it's not to say I'm better than the next guy, but I mean, it's just how it feels to me. It feels natural, and I like doing it. Drawing buildings, ugh. Okay, so here's a fun panel. We're gonna see her face. Once again, she's just got read issue 6, and you'll see what's going on here. But she's just picked up some new sushi product, and it is delicious. But once again, did it really come from fish? I don't know. Well, I do know, but I'm not telling you. And it's not because I don't care about you, I do. But I want you to enjoy the comic. I don't want to give spoilers. It's more fun to get the full experience, to read the actual book. Once again, Door to Death, you can get the whole Door to Death catalog for pretty daggone cheap. I forget how much the Kindle is of Volume 1 Revived Hive. Maybe $8. And of course you get issue 6 and on Kindle, and issue 7 pretty soon, and that's it. That's all you got. What else is worth talking? Oh, daggone it, Cheesecake, give it up. It's not good. You won't have fun out there. I want to make a special shout out to the Fujitanis, Miwa, who has translated one of my comics. I won't say which, but keep your eye out for that. Well, I mean, if you're Japanese, watch out for it. I just wanted to just see how this fares. I tried publishing one thing in Japanese once. It was Charlotte, and the woman who helped me translate was an American woman, and did a brilliant job. I was so thankful, and we just did the best we could, but a lot of Japanese were not very thrilled with the translation and kind of ripped on it. And I think I got like one person, after I ran a free promotion, I got one-star review, and I canceled that release, sadly enough. And we're going to try again with this other comic. You'll hear about it soon enough. And yeah, I'm pretty excited. You know, I'm open to the possibility the Japanese readers might hate it, might rip it apart. I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, you know, I'm not Junji Ito. I don't get thousands of reviews and thousands of buys. But you know, I saw a nice review from a man named Guadalupe in Mexico. He said it was emotional terror. I really like that. Something in emotional terror. I forget what, but I think in particular emotional terror. I said that's just such a beautiful way to put it. I really like that. So Guadalupe, buddy, wherever you are, somewhere in Mexico, obviously, because it said review came from Mexico. Thank you very much. I'm really happy that you would say that, because it was, you know, it was an emotional story. Overripe. It's overripe. Check it out. It's issue 1, and yeah, the Japanese version will be available soon. I just really want to see how I do over there, where I think there's just a market for stuff that doesn't fare as well in the States. Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated made a joke about it. They have the modern H.P. Lovecraft, call him H.P. Hatecraft, who is voiced by the wonderful Jeffrey Combs, the amazing Jeffrey Combs, the Reanimator, of course, and among Wei Yun and all these aliens on Star Trek. He's a tremendously talented guy, so I thought it was really cool he got to be the voice of H.P. Lovecraft. And yeah, the joke was his publisher said he needed to write hip, sexy vampire stuff. It is so dead on, because in America it's like you meet all kinds of people who want that crap. And and then he found out, and so he said, this one's called you know, the vampire who, and he can't get away from his H.P. Lovecraft style. He's trying to be hip, but he keeps on using all these big adjectives, and he says the name of this one. My story is something, you know, the vampire doth cometh, or something like that, and then he says yo yo yo, and he added yo 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 to the title to make it hip. I'm like, oh my god, it's just such good satire. In Scooby-Doo Mystery Inc., which it had a lot of great adult humor in it. And I love Scooby-Doo. I'm glad they made shows that, you know, humor that kind of aged with me, is keep something for the adults there. And that's how I feel. I mean, there's just a market for different stuff. You hear like what's going on with the American market right now is really horrifying. You know, it's really terrible. The American, where everyone's head is at, not everyone, but where the publishers' heads are at, is they want to make this politically correct drivel. They don't want to make stories. They want to just you know, preach to the choir and bend to all this politically correct fascism going on, and it's just not good, you know. And if you like that, good for you. But they're also infringing on other people. You know, the new things, like if they don't like what you do, they call you racist or bigot, or just find some mean names, and they take all your hard work and just throw it out the window and trash it and demean it if it's you know. And also all their stuff's like political. It's all making some stupid statement. It's all preaching, and it's just stuff I don't want to hear. I just don't care. It's like, you know, keep that. I just want a story, and a lot of readers don't get that. I got that one Canadian reviewer who called me racist. I made a big testimonial about it. You know, just saying what absolute garbage that was. And it just ain't right. You know, somebody, you know, I go through all this stuff, and I finally just start living my dream on my own without the support of the people I really needed it from for so many years. And then some idiot over in Canada doesn't like, you know, I still find it so ironic. I mean, I talked about all this at length, so I'll spare you, but watch the video if you care. But you know, I'm going to make a character. It's an ugly redneck character who calls an Asian person a derogatory name, and the Asian person is a bad person, and she's hanging out with other bad people, and they're all mutually using each other. I don't know if you should say mutually using each other, but they're all using each other. They're all just crappy people, you know, crappy white people hanging out with a crappy Chinese. And they call her the C word behind her back. Uh-oh. And my work got called a racist. And maybe it wasn't just because of that, but because I depicted the woman as being just really goofy, really goofy. I'm terrible English, but I mean, you can't tell me there's no such that does exist. I'm sorry to tell you, there are lousy Asian people out there who speak bad English. It's just a fact of life. It's not like I shied away from showing how lousy the white. It had nothing to do with race. It was just bad people. Anyway, I went on and on about that. I've already said my piece about that. The person's just an idiot. But where I'm going with this is, I just feel like H.P. Hatecraft in that Scooby-Doo. Oh yeah, at the end where he found out all of it. I didn't tell that part. I don't think he found out all his work, all his original work that was all gnarly and cool, not this hip, stupid romantic vampire garbage, was doing awesome in Japan. So he didn't have to do that anymore. They find out, yeah, my books are doing great in Japan. I said, God, that's so true. And so, I mean, it's almost like I love America, but the way the so-called entertainment industry is right now, I mean, with TV programming, everything, I'd rather my work exist somewhere where all that was everything wasn't being scrutinized by these PC Nazis. And they don't want to tell a story. They just want to, like Jerry Seinfeld said, they got to take out their calculators and make sure, the diversity is on point, So just write a story. Just write a story, I also think it's such a, calling everything racist it's turning it into such a joke, because I swear if somebody came out and said, I don't like Asian people. I made this comic to show everybody how terrible Asian people are and how all Asian people should disappear. Then I'd say, that's despicable. I mean, that would be something, you could call that racist and say, yeah, that's pretty racist, But they're going after my stuff. I'm like, seriously? Dude, I love Eastern culture, I mean, it's just so ironic. You're trying to, people trying to cancel me. It's just, people are ridiculous. People are just so petty. I think this PC thing is a lot like the Salem witch trials. Everyone wants to get on, it's this mob mentality. And everyone wants to be, on the winning side and shout down, and this virtual sibling is the same thing. It's just being like, getting with the winning team and starting shouting about stuff. I just spit on my screen. Shouting down any opposition. Not having a conversation, just shouting it down, just pointing an accusatory finger, being a complete absolute hypocrite. That's just where things are today. And it's pretty pathetic. I mean, not everywhere. I mean, the real stuff is out there, but it's being made very difficult. And it's hard. I finally get a review and I look at some jerk in Canada just saying, calling me a racist. Give me a break. Oops. What time is it? Oh, it's almost coffee o'clock. I didn't realize how bad caffeine was affecting my sleep until I accidentally skipped it and forgot to drink it one time before we went out. And so it was too late to drink it when I came back, and I slept much better. So I said, man, that's what it is. I should stop having my afternoon coffee at 3, start having it at like 1:30, 1:45. It's helped a little bit. Still, I should cut down coffee even more. Cut down drastically a couple of years ago. It made things easier. I used to have to make frequent bathroom visits. And finally realized my caffeine dosage is way too high. I can't wait for Overwrite to be translated into Japanese. I'm very, very excited. Like I said, I'm open to the possibility that it might get ripped apart. There's no guarantee Japanese readers will like it. And another thing is, man, Japanese is such a huge industry over there. Comics, manga, what have you. It's just stiff competition. There's some amazing stuff, but it's once again just like as I've just come to appreciate when I look at Junji Ito's, I'm Lee Davis and they are them. And this is my style, and it's not the most schooled thing. And keep in mind, I haven't gotten to take. I took some art classes as a kid. I got put in these little cartoon classes for little kids. I don't know what was going on with that, but my talent was very put down constantly. So yeah, I didn't have much teaching or training on this stuff. I pursued it, but it was always shot down. which stunk. Even some of the people I wanted to contact, one guy, she fell over again. I'm gonna give her one more chance. So I'm almost done here anyway. I wanted to meet this one guy, and I still get kind of emotional because, he'll pop up. Like, last thing I heard, he did work with Vincent Locke, who worked with Neil Gaiman many years ago, and did the History of Violence graphic novel that became Cronenberg's film. Worked with the great Vince Locke. I love Vince Locke. Did the Cannibal Corpse album covers, but Mark Riddick worked with him. I absolutely love Mark Riddick, and I found his work in a magazine called Gasp when I was a kid, and we were just getting ready to move back to Virginia, and I was really looking forward to getting my life back on track, and I just did not know how bad things were going to be, had I only known. But one thing was getting to live closer to Mark Riddick, and I had these ideas to collaborate on a zombie comic with the guy. I just wanted to and I sent him a letter, and he called me, and we had this wonderful conversation. Just the nicest guy in the world. And I just got so out of sorts. I was forbidden to meet him or have contact with him. It was really hard for me. It sucked, it really did. And he said, "Great, man, are you gonna take in art classes?" I said, "I'd love to. I really love doing art, And I still don't understand this BS attitude that, like, just because I wanted to make comics meant that, like, that was all I wanted to do. There were other things I wanted to do. Those things got shot down too. It's very sad. Oh yeah. Oh, hey, Cheesecake found her way up on her own. Good job, Cheesecake. I'm not saying it's just there's a lot of suffering on the way. And I've often said, another thing is all this politically correctness, and people persecuting my dreams and coming down on me. I really did. I was gaslit so much and made to think I was such a horrible person. I got so sick of it. I was at a very young and impressionable age. I started making a lot of bad decisions, I started drinking a lot. I still do that every once in a while. I'm not going to say it's not enjoyable, but I shouldn't do it. And I haven't, so... But I mean, back then I did it just because I was like, everything I desired was being thrown out the window. Like, as soon as I put it on the table, no matter what it was, I mean, everything, not just art, everything, was being thrown out the window. And it hurt, I got afraid to even talk about my dreams. Then people would come around and, why aren't you doing anything? Which I don't know. I'm afraid to even bring it up because I don't want to watch another thing. I got to do all this stuff in secret. And then I really started to believe I'm a terrible person. I was not born for this world. At one point I said, I looked at some of my, I think, people who died at the age of 40. I'm 42 now. So I said, maybe, if that's how it goes for a lot of people like me, that they're just going to be, put out, like ripped on, dumped on, shown no love, no matter where they look, no appreciation. And I can just kind of do this stuff for a little bit and scrape by with whatever kind of crappy job I can get. I couldn't even pursue the jobs I wanted, so I had, these terrible retail jobs. And maybe when I'm 40, I can just die. I said I'm not going to have a family, it looks like. That obviously changed, thank God. I said I just wasn't meant for this world. It's like everything I put on the table is ripped apart, and I hate it. But I guess, these people must know what they're talking about, right? They're adults, right? And I just wanted to die. I just wanted to be dead. And every time I got ripped, wasted, drunk, I'm not saying it wasn't relaxing to be drunk, but I kind of said, I'll just take this poison. One day this poison will kill me, and I can say goodbye to all this bullshit, And things. But thank God I found out. I said, you know what? All those people who said you sucked, they were lying. A lot of people, look, I'm not going to start preaching, but a lot of people rip on Joel Osteen. But man, I'll tell you what, if you're hurting the way I ever was, listen to that guy. Don't be angry. Listen to, if you can't stand Joel Osteen, if you want to rip on the guy, you don't. I'm like the only guy who I know that doesn't think he's a phony. Because I prayed for a vision, a sign, or something one time to the point I just wanted to be dead at one. I remember sitting there. I was like, actually, to be frank, I was in the bathtub, and I was shaking. I was just so mad with everything that had happened to me. I was hurting so much, and I didn't know what to do. I felt like there was no escape, and I prayed real hard. I said, please, just give me some way to deal with this. And I stepped out of the room. I turned on the TV, and Joel Osteen said, "Don't let what happened in your past control your tomorrow." And that was it. And then I watched Rocky Balboa, and I saw a man who everyone, his son, everybody was telling him, "Don't do this. Please don't do this. You're embarrassing me. You're embarrassing everybody. You look like a fool. Don't do this. Don't do this." And he's going to do it anyway. And everyone just said, "Don't do it. You have no business doing this. You're too old. You're too this. You're too that." Ironically, Sylvester Stallone is my idol. I always point out we were born on the same day, whether you buy into astrology or not. I almost said astronomy. But we were born on the same day, and I felt a lot of artistic and synchronicity. And also when he talked about growing up, he even said how people said he was stupid, but it was just his imagination was going crazy. I said, "Oh my God, I know that. I know exactly what you're talking about." There's just so many things. There's just like, a lot of people really inspire me, but Sylvester Stallone is an artist. He's on very, very spoke to me on a very personal level, and like even the last. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm very much in common with Rambo, but man, I saw the Rambo 4, where he goes to Burma, and oh my Lord, that movie was a spiritual experience for me. It was just profound, and a lot of people don't really care for the movie. They're like, Rambo 4, holy moly. Oh, but yeah, going back to Joel Osteen, I found my own way. And you do all this stuff, and you work so hard, and then you got to deal with the idiots who want to call you a racist for something really stupid. It's just, it's really upsetting. Well, what have these people done? And then if you look at it, man, I'm telling you, I don't get, I'm not going to preach about what other people should draw or what story. I might not like it, but I'm not going to rip on them. If someone says, "I was inspired by Junji Ito," and I say, "Oh, inspired, I love Junji Ito, I guess I'll check it out." And I check it out. This reviewer probably took the free promotion anyway. It's like, if you don't like something, leave it alone. But it's, I bet you get one of these PC losers, and their stories are all the same. They're so weak. They really are. A lot of these stories are just so weak. They're preaching. They're just saying. They're saying the same old stuff I've heard a gazillion times. And it's like they're trying to teach the reader a lesson, how you shouldn't be racist and sexist. I'm like, man, we already know that. And people don't like being told that they're racist and sexist for just existing. People don't want to hear someone say, "You were born with this skin color, therefore you're a bad person." People don't like racism. That's some serious racism going on right there. It's just, and if you do, you're just doing this stuff for like other people who like it, and then everyone else who doesn't like it you call racist or something. They're not good stories. And once again, I don't think the East has been bit by this, and God pray they are not. I heard there's like a big kind of conflict of interest. I don't follow the market real well, or what's going on, what's hip, what's in fashion, but I heard Japan basically, a lot of publishers said, "No, we're not really into this idea." I said, "That guy, good going, Japan." I think they really want to just tell stories. I said before, I'm not really up on anime and manga. It's just not my style. But there's no denying their entertainment. It's not. I haven't noticed it to be totally oversaturated with this politically correct fascism that's going on and taking root, sadly enough, here in the West. It's killing art. It really is. And if you're drawn into this stuff, if you want to be part of the bandwagon, I just hope you don't like telling stories, because the real stories are being ripped on. I mean, look at. I keep referencing Tarantino, but he's one guy who's actually in the mainstream that's actually telling actual stories, right? I'm not a huge fan, but people are all over his case. Like, he didn't give a big enough speaking part to a woman or something like that. It's like, dude, he told a story. It was like, it wasn't Uma Thurman. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna, don't start like calling me out on inaccuracies. But I mean, it seems like what was it, Kill Bill? There were some pretty tough women in that film. I mean, it's like, but if we're gonna sit here with calculators, it's just killing it. I mean, you're killing art. Just enjoy the story. I'm not going to sit there and watch your stupid, a woman power movie. And don't misquote me, but it's like you want to. It's like you got a powerful woman in your movie, that's great. But then it's like when it's like some preaching nonsense. I'm not going to sit there and watch the movie and start belly aching that there aren't enough strong male characters, and so then someone's going to say like, "Oh, well, you have plenty of that." I'm like, all right, well, cool. I'm not going to whine about your story, and you maybe don't whine about mine, right? Everybody wins. But a lot of these people, they just want to control. These PC fascists, they want to control everything. They want to control. They are not content to just do their own thing. They want you to shut up. They want your story to not exist, and they want everyone to like theirs. And if they don't like theirs, they call you a racist or a sexist. You don't like my story, therefore you are, by the transitive properties, you are a racist. Give me a break. Stop being an idiot. Just stop being stupid. You might be surrounded by this kind of nonsense, this kind of BS. But, open your eyes, wake up and smell the coffee, use your brain. Don't fall in with that stuff, because, even if they're on your side now, it's not fair to the other people who don't want to toe the line, who don't want to join this weird cult. I'm seriously going to throw this. They're good. At the same time, I lose my power, and Cheesecake takes another dive. This thing is really... I thought I had this thing kind of fixed by just... Will that keep? How's the angle there? Okay. Cheesecake. I'm getting tired of it. Yeah, I'm not a master storyteller. I mean, I don't know. I think I'm something like that. I think I have something special. I think there's people out there who can definitely enjoy this. I hope you do. I hope you buy Door to Death, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, thank you very much. And those of you out there who really care, I mean, it means a lot to me that you take time out for this. If you're into drawing, I hope you make some good stories, and I hope keep it true to your heart. Stay away from the bandwagon and what the corporate creeps think should be the end thing. Do your own thing. And I love money, but don't make it about money either. I'd like to see more money, but I'd rather stay true and live a humble life. Okay, Cheesecake. What time is it? How's that angle? Still see that all right? Okay, cool. It's 1:38. We're doing all right. The next thing I'm going to do, I don't know if I'm going to do it today or not, and I might do it on screen capture later if I do, but I might share with you when I make the cover for Door to Death, issue 7. I'd love to share it with you. There it goes again. I want to make a pop art cover. Oh, this absolutely drives me nuts. I want to make it like kind of simple, loud popping colors, kind of splattery, not too much. Stay. Good plug. So far, I kind of seen it in my head. I want like another up close monster face or something like that. Kind of simple, kind of catching. People coming through the window, gonna come eat some shish fish over at Slappy's Sushi. What could go wrong? If you read issue 6, you saw what happened to the last rude customers. And I do ironic stories where, like, you know, my heroes like Junji Ito and you know, Lovecraft. A lot of people do stories where everyone's game. And I'm not saying you'll never see an innocent people bite it, but I do a lot of irony. I give a sense of justice to the universe where the violence visits, like the ruder they are, kind of like Hannibal Lecter selected most of his victims. The guy who didn't play his instrument right in the orchestra, that was uncalled for. But you know, I mean, you know, obviously killing and eating people is bad. Don't do it. But I mean, it's like when we watched Hannibal. You know, it's kind of satisfying because a lot of the people he wasted were bad people. If you ever read the book Hannibal, there was one murder in there that was really satisfying because the guy was such a scumbag that Hannibal wasted. So, yeah, I just like that kind of stuff. It's hard for me to hurt innocent people. In my comic. What is this? Oh, Michelle's calling. Michelle, I'll call you back in 1 minute, okay? I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna call my friend Michelle, see how she's doing. And I need my coffee, and I really need to visit the restroom. I know you really needed to know that. How's this looking, everybody? So I still call this the wand because I never remember what it's actually called. Okay. I really want to wrap this up because I'm tired of drawing. And it's been wonderful hanging out with you folks. I do appreciate you all tuning in. And I hope you all are having an awesome day. Please be kind to your fellow man and woman, I guess. Everyone's going to get on the case. That just means that people in general. Please be nice to everybody. Live by the golden rule. Don't trash stuff just because it doesn't line up with your same nonsensical political beliefs. And have conversations about things. Don't just shout. This new thing where everyone just wants to shout you down is for weak, childish people. Have conversations. And until someone actually is threatening your safety, you know, just leave them alone and be civil. You don't have to like my work, but calling names, shouting people down is what pussies do. If you do it, pardon my French, you're just a pussy. And go fuck yourself. And having said that, let me clean up my language. Well, let's take a look at the full page. Okay, let's take off the sketch, clean it up a little bit. It's probably going to go back, after I'm done here, I'll probably go back and touch this up a little bit. All right, what do you think, everybody? I like it. It was over an hour, but that's about how long it takes to do one of these pages. Cheesecake. I think I hear the mail truck too. Maybe it brought me something cool. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Watch out for Door to Death issue 7. Buy the others if you haven't already. Special shout out to Raj from Australia for hollering. Love fans like you. Thank you. Caesar has always just been great. All my friends, but a lot of people who give a lot of time to my work. When there's so much other stuff out there that you pick me to put on your shopping list, it means a lot to me. So thank you. And I hope to meet more of you. And Japan, watch out for Overripe because it's coming, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you don't, that's fine too. Just go easy on me. Don't rip me up. Don't be like these Americans or Canadians or whatever that call me racist. All right, be a little. I'm sure more people are. We don't have such a problem with childish mentalities. It's okay to be a kid at heart, but don't act like a 5-year-old brat who just starts calling names and shouting when things don't go their way, when the world doesn't line up with their narrow view. Right? Peace out.